You're here on the SoCal Sound. This is another SoCal Sound session. My name is Byron Gonzalez. I'm your host for this one. And today we welcome a Northern California artist, but now is LA based because he came down here from Northern California to pursue music. He is now embarking on his solo project, which is absolutely great. We got Octavio F.G here in studio. We're going to talk to him right now, and he's going to perform a couple songs after the interview, so stick around for that. You're not going to want to miss it. Octavio, ¿cómo estás? How are you, man?
Very good.
Oh, you know, I forgot to mention, you're also Mexicano, so there's another connection there. I love bringing in musicians with Latin heritage.
Yeah. My parents, mom was born in Mexico, my dad was born in Texas. I was born in Northern California, but definitely
a long journey. A long journey here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's it.
And now you're embarking on your solo project, man. Yeah. I think the first song I ever heard from you in your project was Brother, and that one hooked me.
Yeah.
But I also want to, since you're fairly new, not into music and everything, you're new as Octavio F.G.
Yeah.
I want to know a little bit about you as a person. Like, when did you first become influenced to write music?
I've always loved music, right? But for me, it was definitely, I'd say, I was always singing. Always liked singing. My mom would always sing. Every time my mom would wake up on a Sunday, she'd be cleaning the house, like singing rancheras, that'd be on to wake up. And that was the introduction to me. There's always music on. But then I think around junior high school, that's when I started picking up my dad's guitar. And then immediately I played guitar because I wanted to sing. So that went first, right? It was like, okay, so let me accompany myself with the guitar.
Oh, okay.
So, but then right away, I just started writing. I don't know, it just felt right away. I wasn't really drawn to do covers, right away, just to sing. So I just started writing right away.
What would you write about? What influenced the letters at that time when you were younger?
Oh, man. I mean, basic stuff.
Basic stuff about love.
Yeah.
About
girls' love.
Struggles.
Angst. You know what I mean? Stuff you're upset about.
Do you remember some of your first songs that you wrote, and would you ever revive those?
No.
Are they too cringy? Too cringy?
Horrible. I'm glad TikTok and all that wasn't around at that time.
I know, right? You make yourself a
sometimes I see kids put stuff up. I'm like, oh, man. I was like, this is gonna be up there forever now. And so I'm glad that was, that woodshedding was all by myself.
Yeah.
And then when I got to, I went to school at UC Davis. And that's where I got my first band.
Okay.
And that's when I started. The dorm I was in was called Casa Cuauhtemoc, which is actually a bunch of kids from LA that go to UC Davis. So it's a kind of a community that they harvest, so be with each other. And so I lived in that dorm as well. And in that dorm, I befriended my friend Antonio. And I remember walking down the hall. He had a guitar, and I walked in there, and he was like, "Oh, you play guitar?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, you play? And he had a little electric. And he
just started jamming?
He just knew tons of covers. He knew Metallica and tons of GNR and all this stuff. And I was like, well, hey, I write songs. He's like, okay.
Oh, okay.
He just down the hall. And then we just started right away. And then started playing open mics. And then...
kind of snowballed into...
Oh, yeah. I was like, let's just go play. I was right. So I went to go play open mics and then played shows. And my first show was actually playing, the band Osamatli.
Yeah, you opened up for them.
That was the first one. That was the first show. That was my first real thing. I mean, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know, I remember sound check. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know any of it at all. Super green, because my grandpa was a singer.
But your dad wasn't?
No. My dad would just play guitar in the house every now and then. But my grandpa was like a singer, tenor, opera guy. But nothing, my parents were teachers.
Oh, okay.
Art teachers, so... It wasn't as if I knew what a sound checker was. I didn't know, quarter-inch cable, XLR cable.
Now, did your parents support you through all of this? I know in Latin families, sometimes the arts is...
Yeah, for sure. But I think the difference was that my parents came here and then they became teachers and everything, went through college and everything. And then, so I'm the youngest of three.
Okay.
So.
Oh, you're the baby.
Yeah, so by that time it's like, oh, déjala, you know.
Yeah, okay, they're like, sure.
Yeah, let him go, he's different.
That's hilarious.
You know what I mean? But it's funny, a lot of people I meet in music, it's like, oh no, I'm the baby. I'm the baby. My wife, she's an actor, she's the baby.
I guess the first batch of kids are like, no, you gotta try to be successful and go down the right path.
I think it's interesting too because they grow up and you kind of emulate the parents, right? So my parents were, teachers and that. So my brother is an engineer.
Oh, okay.
My sister was a teacher at first. Now she's works in HR. So it's like they went like more straight up that,
So
dependable work.
Yeah, dependable, kind of secure. Yeah, you're out here kind of like, like, don't go to the hospital. Yeah. It's gonna cost a lot. But also, like, I'm a little curious, like, what then? I mean, you looked up to your father because he played guitar, but like, what made you pick up the pen and what made you continue this path of creating a band?
The thing was one of my friends in high school played guitar. So he's always playing guitar. And then he started writing songs, and I was like, man, but I want to sing, but I didn't really know. And then he started a band, and literally I remember going to his practice, rehearsal, and I was sitting there and I was like, man, I want to do that.
Okay. But it wasn't, so what kind of bands did you look up to or like?
Oh, at that time?
Yeah.
Oh, at that time it was a lot of soul, rock and roll, R&B. My mom listened to a lot of doo-wop, R&B.
Oh, those are solid stuff.
Yeah, which singers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then my dad was more into the boleros, country, and rock and roll. The classic like Stones, CCR. Yeah. For some reason, Latinos love CCR a lot. Yeah. I don't know how.
It's
like,
good.
It's like Morrissey, CCR,
yeah.
The Cure.
Yeah. And we just gravitate.
Yeah, but no, my thing was, I just liked singers.
Okay.
Because that's what was my main thing. That was the thing I liked. That was the thing I heard. And honestly, it just felt good. As soon as I started doing it, it just felt right. And I just kept doing it. And then you play your first show or your first open mic or anything, and it's
riveting.
Yeah, you're nervous, but then it feels really good, and it goes by so fast, and you can't wait to do it again.
You love the performance.
Yeah, then you do it again, and it's just like, it's
a drug.
Yeah, it just feels
it's
good.
A drug.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit more about now your solo project? You were in a band in San Francisco. You moved down here, and that you started writing music for yourself that didn't fit the band. But now, how do you feel about this project? Now you're a few singles in. You just released a new single. How do you feel about it, and where do you want it to go?
It's interesting because as opposed to a band, when you start, it's like we started, playing shows right away. This was a different approach where it flipped. It was more writing, getting songs together, working with different producers, writing. And then, which is nice because then I could look at the songs and be like, okay, because I didn't know what my project Octavio F.G would be, and then it started gravitating towards really, stuff that I really liked growing up, which is like, 70s, 80s, funk, R&B, then it's mixed. I remember, I don't know if you're familiar with these Thump Records used to make these mixtapes called Old School.
No, I don't know about.
And there was a record store in my town called Barney's. It's rough and dry, and you could buy Zippo lighters there, like knives and
just a mix
hand-blown glass. And you walk in, it's like a mushroom. It's all psychedelic. Smelled like patchouli, and So I'd go in there like 8th grade, 9th grade, and they had CDs that were those mixtapes, and my friends had them. And every time my friends we'd have a big old party, my friend Marco would always put on these old school things, and it was all that. It was all like old school, like 70s, 80s funk, and I remember just loving it.
Yeah, right.
And it was all, because it's kind of the take of groove, but then you have people come from like R&B world.
So that's what you're channeling.
Yeah, so it has these like singers over the top of like a steady groove.
Yeah.
I
guess that makes a lot of sense when I'm hearing Brother.
Yeah, totally.
I'm hearing Dogs and Killer Bees.
Exactly.
It's like this steady groove that just kind of energizes you through whatever you're doing.
Trucks. Yeah. But so that's it. I mean, Octavio F.G is definitely in that vein. It's just, I can say what it is right now, but it's really what I feel right now, what I'm into right now, what I like right now. It could naturally change
yeah.
as I go, change. But yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about your song, the first song that I heard, Brother.
Yeah.
It sounds like a cool, I didn't grow up with siblings, but like, maybe you can speak a little bit more about your brother and how he influenced this song. That is it just like your relationship with him is just that great and that you looked up to him a lot?
It's good. I mean, I'm the younger brother, right? So
right.
my brother's two years older than me, maybe 2.5. No, 2. Which I thought was close. So I used to tell my mom, I was like, man, we're almost twins.
That's true. 2 years.
2 years, So, I mean, he's my big brother. We shared a room, 2 little twin beds. And so, of course, growing up, I always emulated him. He played this, I played that. Played this, played that, played this, played that. He wore this, I wore that.
Backflips into the pool.
Yeah, really, because lucky, we grew up with a pool, and it's like every summer.
Oh, that's very lucky.
Yeah, very lucky. So, I mean, every summer, that's what I'm saying. That's also where I heard a lot of music. Because we'd pull speakers outside and put on the radio, and that was the music that was playing. Yeah. It was like an old school funk station, so that'd be on, and we'd be swimming, and that's where I heard a lot of stuff. But with my brother, very close. He went to UC Davis, played soccer there, engineer. I went to UC Davis.
Did you play soccer?
No. I played soccer growing up.
Oh, okay.
But then as I got older, I was like, oh man, I don't have that.
Okay.
I didn't have that switch, the athletes have.
Yeah, but you're more in the fingers.
Yeah, because sometimes it'd be like, oh, we lost. I'd be like, yeah.
He was more competitive.
Oh, yeah. He can't turn that off. Yeah, he's competitive.
Okay.
Athletes have that. They have, people in all fields have that. But the song came about because a producer I was working named Pete Min here in LA. He asked me, he's like, well, why don't you write? He's like, have you ever written a song about your brother? Because I was talking to him about my family and everything. And
you talk about your brother a lot?
Yeah, well, I just talk about, my family in general, It comes up no matter what, what this person's doing, that person doing. And he's like, have you written a song about your brother? I was like, no. And at first I thought, I was like, huh. And it was good to have a prompt from someone else. Like, go write that.
Oh,
and so it was good. It's like I went home. I mean, it came out quick.
Oh, good.
It's
just a good one.
Yeah, it just, as soon as I had like the idea of, I'm just talking about what we did, what we went through.
It sounds so good too. It's such a nice summer song. It just always reminds me. I mean, you mentioned pool in the
yeah, it goes with the pool.
It just vibes so much like that. I always imagine myself listening to it like cruising down.
That's what it is
or something.
I mean, that's a lot of stuff that I like and a lot of stuff that I'm making is
cruising music.
Yeah, is that feeling. It's like twilight.
Yeah.
Especially for me coming from Northern California, you come to LA and it's like,
oh yeah, all that stretch of land and you're just driving and driving. Nice.
It makes sense. Palm trees, big city, it works.
So how about this new single that you just released, Keep On Driving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell me what sparked the lyrics for this one? And
that song came again. That was done with a different producer, Aaron Stern, and my friend Michael, who's drums and is playing with the band today. That was a song that I worked on by myself. And the song came about with friends of mine who are kind of in the world of renting, this job didn't pan out, that didn't pan out. And we talked to them, just like kind of waiting for something to click, and it was kind of like, okay, the song talks about moving. Sometimes you want to move. It's like, okay, let's get out of this house. Like, this is not us anymore.
Yeah.
This apartment, let's move here. Okay, do that. But it's just the idea of, you just keep going, keep driving, keep on driving. That's where it came about. And I just kept on thinking about the Highway 1.
Highway 1?
Yeah, and I just kept on thinking about like driving down that, the sun, the wind, and just kind of that twilight, that freedom that comes with that. And it felt good and just kind of like, that's kind of whenever I write songs, I go with like imagery a lot. I kind of picture where they're at and what's happening.
So you're kind of building a movie too.
Yeah.
Is your album going to be like movie-esque?
I mean, yeah. I mean, am I right? It's like I do like imagery a lot. It just, when I'm writing, if someone's telling me a story, I have to like step back and kind of picture what's going on.
Okay.
I've always kind of very visual. Like I have to see it. I have to see it in my head, like to really know what's going on.
I mean, yeah, Brother's so visual. Dogs and Killer Bees is about love, but and Love Me Like You Should Too. That one was really good.
Yeah, I mean, they're all-
It makes me, yeah, you visualize your partner or that person that you love.
You know, they're all pretty close to me because they all come of like from moments of my life and then things that are going around me. You know, it's very rarely do I write stuff that's has nothing to do with me or I haven't experienced.
That's not like fictional, right?
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
songwriters out there that
That's hard for me to
stories.
do.
Oh,
That's hard for me to do. Like it's more, and also too, I enjoy singing it more when I know what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know
You
who I'm
lived
talking.
it.
Yeah, when I know I've experienced it, or know the friend who I know who's experienced it, or know
That's really
where
cool.
it comes from. It's like it has to resonate with me in that way. If not, I kind of like let it go. I'm like, because then I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't sing
It's
this. I don't believe it.
It's got to feel. There's got to be that feeling.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just released the single.
Yeah.
But
keep on driving.
what's next? Are you gonna release a couple more?
Another
singles, or
single.
Is there an album?
Another single's coming out, and then I have another album I'm working on about your tracks, but it'll all be one album. You know, and really, you know, this day and age, it's like, you know, trying different things, and as opposed to making one collection of songs, putting the album out. That, you know, me starting fresh, I wanted to do song by song, you know, to kind of get it out there, play the songs, you know, get it to people I know, get it to, you know, people listen to it, and I kind of I enjoy seeing it roll out. It's cool. It's cool to see, you know,
And the reactions and
yeah, because it's little pieces, little piece, you know, as opposed to just like here, you know. And eventually, it will be there. I think it's going to be a few songs that were unreleased that will be on the album, and the songs that I've put out that will be together as well.
Nice. But so you have a few songs. Are there songs that you already are like excited for that are not going to be a
Oh
single?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
the whole album? You're excited for the whole album.
I'm excited for all of them.
Do we have a name yet? Is that still in the works?
No.
Still hasn't come
I have
to
to see.
you.
I have to see them all together.
Okay.
By the way, I hate naming things. I hate it. I just hate like because like I've seen some songwriters go, they start with the name. You know, some people just write down names. Let's write that song. Let's write this song. I can't do that. The name for me comes last.
Interesting.
I'll just start riffing and singing a song, and then, oh, that's a good line, and then that'll come out, and then soon enough, it's like by the second verse, I'm like, oh,
You figured it out.
yeah, this is what it's about.
the name.
This is what's going on.
Okay,
yeah.
so no name yet.
No.
until
So I have
all
to see it.
songs-
I have to see it together. Once I see all of it together, I'll be like, oh,
There it is.
That's what it
well,
is.
I can't wait to figure out what the name is going to be. Can't wait to see the cover art too. I'm a big
Yeah,
fan of cover art.
I'm a big fan of all of that.
Yeah.
It's all part of it. I enjoy all of it. The cover art, the lyrics,
The mixing.
yeah, everything.
Yeah, that's
all
gonna
of
be
it.
great, man. Well,
All of it.
Well, thank you again for
Thank you so
finally
much for
making it
having
all the
me.
way. You came from Vancouver. Now you're in LA, back in LA.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna be
Where it's the
releasing more
best.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's great.
I mean, that's where all your music gets inspired.
Yeah,
by,
yeah.
right?
It didn't make sense up there. It didn't when I was up there. It just. I mean, it's 8 months of gray, no rain. Rain,
okay.
no sun. I
It's
mean,
the-
man.
No palm trees.
Oh man.
No palm
Just
trees.
to come to LA and hear people playing music outside their car. I mean, that was the best. Like just hearing life again like that.
That's
It's quiet up there. You know,
That's
it's like
great.
open the windows.
But now you're more inspired out here.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
great.
where it all comes from.
We're gonna hear an album, and then we're gonna hear even more music after that. Of
course.
Well, thank you, Octavio. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you.
Stick around because there's a performance. It's superb. They were setting up. They were doing some sound checking, and you're in for a treat. So check it out right now.